Hey friends, it is Randy and it is another day to build wins live. We've been doing it all week. If you have not, there's still another hour or two to go and the weekend to get prepared for next week. So let's get on it. Today we're going to build wins again with a friend of mine that you are going to really enjoy, Brynne Tillman. She is a guru. She's a recovering sales pro that now talks about anything and everything in the world of LinkedIn that you need to know. And we're going to expose you to some things you never thought you needed to know today in about 30 seconds. So don't go away. Here we are. Can you believe it?
Thrilled to be here.
Well, it's great to have you, my friend. Great to have you. Thank you. So, how's your day been? Good? Good day?
Every day's a good day, Randy.
It
Every
is.
day.
It is. It's
Yeah.
just great to get up and do what you love and love what you do, isn't it? That's a great thing.
Absolutely. I
So,
do. I do every day.
so, so a recovering sales pro.
Well, so
That's
it's a recovering sales trainer. I'm still a
oh,
sales pro.
you're still a sales pro, a sales trainer, a recovering one. So
Recovering sales trainer. So I taught sales training for a very long time and I was
okay.
pretty good at it. There are a lot of people that are way better. But what I really loved when LinkedIn came out was the power of LinkedIn for prospecting and nurturing, for attracting the right people, for starting conversations, for not having to cold call anymore.
Right.
And so when I found that, I really put all of my energy and any wisdom that I'd gained throughout books I've read and and lessons I've learned and things I've taught and really honed in on LinkedIn for social selling specifically. And I gave up all the other sales training and really just focused on LinkedIn for business development.
So you believe in it, apparently, based
Yeah,
on
I
all
mean,
that.
one of my core tenets is to practice what I teach.
There you
I
go.
don't teach something to anyone that I haven't done successfully myself.
Love it. Well, I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. That's really my go-to. I do
Mhm.
the other platforms just as a redundancy and I do understand there's some people I just started TikTok, believe it or not, which
Me
I gotta be
too.
I gotta be brutally honest. Do you like it? I I don't love
Um,
it, but
yeah, so it's a time suck if I'm using it.
yeah,
But we're already doing the videos, so we decided to just start putting them up. But I
yeah,
haven't gone out and followed people.
yeah.
So
I'm
we'll see.
I've been poor with that, but I for a long time I stayed away from it. It because I found it as silly and weird and goofy. But
Mhm.
uh, I also realized that uh, a lot of my a lot of the say the early 20s, the maybe to mid 20s, the real TikTok followers, if I
Mhm.
want them 3 or 4 or 5 years from now and they get promoted and are in
Mhm.
a decision making position, I want them to know me. I want to grow up with them, right?
Absolutely.
That's
Yep.
the only reason I do it. But
You've got it. Yeah, everyone says you've got to go where your buyers are, but you also have to go where your future buyers are. So
exactly,
completely
exactly.
agree.
I
Mhm.
just I'll put music to it. I might do a slight bit of TikTok-y ish, if you will, maybe if I get comfortable with that. But there's no dancing with goats, and I'm not going to sing goofy songs and dance or anything like that
Yeah,
because
you got to be B2B if that's what you want to attract,
exactly,
right? So
exactly,
everything that we do is value, it's teaching, it's education. It doesn't
exactly.
feel like a TikTok,
Right.
but it's, mini videos that we would put on LinkedIn, we're now putting up there.
Yep. Exactly. It's kind of fun. That's kind of fun to add a little music to it or some little touch and play around with it. It gives me something to amuse
Great.
myself with, if nothing else, right? For a while.
Yeah.
In
But
the
LinkedIn is still our core for sure.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. So with that, obviously a very B2B platform. So in the because I'm hoping that anybody that catches the show in the future, if they need some help, can reach out to you. Obviously, you work with folks all the time and probably are taking new clients. But what what drives LinkedIn and from Bryn's standpoint, why
Mhm.
in the world, if I don't know anything about LinkedIn, it seems sometimes to some people it's a bunch of stodgy old business guys, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't want to. Why do you want to do it? Why do we want to do LinkedIn?
Well, so there are, 5 real components of LinkedIn when it comes to sales and business development. The first one is whether you're using LinkedIn or not, people are vetting you. People are Googling you. People are looking to find out information about you before they accept your sales call or appointment, number one. And when you Google, LinkedIn is almost always in the top 3. And it's the go-to for most other business people. So it is vital, even if you swear off LinkedIn and you don't want to use it, you've got to have a value-centric profile, a profile that helps to earn you the right to get that conversation going. It's got to be a resource for the people that land there, even if you're not using it, because it is a huge piece of what they're using to learn about you. So that's number one. Number two, you should be using it to find out about them.
Right.
There's a social listening component. Do your homework before you get on a call. Find out where they live. One of the things, especially when an appointment comes from LinkedIn, and the first question they ask me is, "Oh, where do you live?" I want to go, "You need to take my class," because all you had to do was look at my LinkedIn profile and say, "Oh, I see you live outside of New York." I moved. I used to be Philly.
Okay.
I see you live outside of New York. Are you on the Connecticut side or the New Jersey side? Like, where are you? Right? And then I feel like you took that time to talk, to learn about me. Look at who your shared connections are. Find out if they've shared content and what are topics that they care about. Look at where they worked. Take a look at the keywords that they use to describe their skills and use those words in conversation. Take a look at the influencers that they follow and maybe even bring up some content around those influencers. At the end of the day, when you've taken the time to learn about your prospect through social listening, you create a much faster rapport, and there's such a high level of credibility. And by the way, under 2 minutes, you can find 2 things
Right.
to use, right? So number 3, LinkedIn allows us to stay in front of our network through content and thought leadership. This doesn't mean you have to create content all the time, but there are easy pieces of content you can create, like polls, right? Very easily you can create a poll, and it's almost discovery-ish. You're going to attract your buyer if you're using the right poll. But engaging on other people's posts will actually get you more followers and more attention than simply you putting out your content. So, few things. Number one, when you go to your prospects profile, and you should do this with all your clients and all your networking partners, is you can ring their bell. If they're a first degree connection, there's a little bell in the top, like the bottom right of their banner. If you ring that, whenever they share content, you are notified. It's different than the homepage news feed. You are actually notified that they shared content. And now you have an opportunity to engage. And people share content because they want to be engaged with.
Right.
So if you go and like and comment, they appreciate you, right? There's an opportunity there to start a conversation. Now I'm going to give you a pro tip. If they shared content, let's say by Tony Robbins, go find a podcast or some other piece of content from Tony Robbins. Reach out and connect with them if you're not connected, or send a message if you are. And Randy, I really love that post that you put out. Thank you for sharing. Not sure if you heard the podcast that Tony Robbins did 3 weeks ago on X, Y, and Z. But if you're interested, I'd love to share it with you. Here were some of my takeaways. Right?
Nice.
And so that becomes a really powerful conversation. Now, if you go to somebody's profile and you don't see the bell, you're not a first degree connection yet. So go to the more button and hit follow, and automatically, the bell will pop up, and you can click on that bell even if you are not connected to someone, which gives you that opportunity to start a conversation when the time is right. So wait, that was thought leadership. That was only 3. Two
Yes.
more.
2 more. I'm ready.
2 more. Nurture your existing connections. Take inventory. Who have you been ignoring? About 10% of your connections are people that you'd love to have a conversation with. So start the conversation. You can export your connections, or you can even search them with some really great filters in the free and in Sales Navigator. Both great opportunities. And then if you put out a poll, you can ask them to vote. Or if you found a great blog post or video from an industry expert, you can offer to share it with them. So you're not starting a conversation around your solution. You're starting a conversation around what they care about. And this is the credibility that you can start to earn that you can't if you connect and pitch. So, and one of the reasons a lot of people will say, I hate LinkedIn, is because they have been victims of the pitch over and over again. But if you do it right and you start a conversation and you treat the person on the other side of the message the same way you would if they were on the other side of the table, you're going to start to build that rapport, build that credibility. They visit your profile where they get value. And then when you ask for that conversation, you've earned the right and they're happy to have it. And last is number 5, warm market prospecting. Connect with every one of your clients and networking partners, mine their connections and identify who they know that you want to meet. Invite them to mine your connections, have a Zoom meeting, run 20, 25 names by one another, whittle it down to 3 or 4 meaningful introductions, and you will have a consistent pipeline without having to do very much else.
Wow. That's the price. That's worth the price of admission already. That's
Oh, good. I think this was free, but good.
I think it was, but you never know.
So
Well,
hopefully I've accomplished it's
oh,
worth free.
you have
But you've all, listeners, you, Randy, you watchers, you guys actually did pay for this with your time. And
exactly
I do want to just say something around that because I made a little joke. But our time is the one resource we can never recover. We can never get back.
right.
So my hope is at the end of you consuming this video and this content that you say, oh my gosh, that was not even just well worth my time, but like that was worth more than the time I invested. And then it's a big win. Anyway, Randy,
Exactly.
that was.
No, that's awesome. And I loved your comment because I had this comment not long ago with somebody, and I made a note of it here, Brynne. But do your homework. It's amazing how many people, and I get them all the time. So I'm a rep agency, right? And I rep product into the metal roofing industry, in the post frame industries, right? Very clear. If you read anything of mine, it won't take you only 2 seconds to figure out what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a builder. I'm not a contractor. But yeah, I'll get this. I see you're a contractor and I can get you 7,000 leads a second and blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, did you even read? Obviously you
Yeah, they
didn't.
don't. They
It's,
don't.
and nothing, and I'm speaking as on the other end of that now, not the guy looking for leads, looking for business. I don't want to talk to you because you've
Mm-hmm.
already made me mad to the point that there's nothing you can say almost that's going to make me want to talk to you anymore. Because, like you said, if you don't care enough about spending, I don't know, Google me, I'll pop up
2
first
minutes.
page,
Right.
1 or 2 down, you'll see me. Pop up my marketing agent, you'll find me. Pop up on LinkedIn or social, anywhere, you'll find me. If you
Mm-hmm.
couldn't take that length of time to figure out what I actually do, and it was the second thing I wrote down, they haven't earned the right to talk to me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that is huge. Those 2 things are huge, what you just said.
Good.
I loved it because I just, people assume that, well, if I just reach out, you're going to talk to me. And man, why? Right? I got a lot to do. Time,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you make it worth my time, I'll talk to you all day. But it's
Yeah.
got,
So Liz B. Simpson says, and I love this, assumption is the lowest form of knowledge.
mm,
I
I like
love
that.
that.
That is
Yeah.
good. That is
Yeah.
good. I wish I'd wrote that. I need something
I
amazing to
know,
say
I
someday.
love it.
I'm gonna come up with one. I'm gonna quit everything I do when I come up with that one great thing that everybody says, Randy said that. I'm still working on it. Um, so the polls. I want to go back to that for a minute because I see polls. I respond to them fairly often. Um, I'm one of those guys that sometimes I always find myself sneaking in and hitting the you hit it and then you go. You can do something to see what everybody else did just because before they release it. Just it's interesting to see where do I fall on that, right? But uh, you said there's a lot of value to polls, and I'm one that. So I'm in a learning point right here, right now. So tell me why I want to do polls again, a little more detail,
Yeah.
because I I'll be honest, I don't get it yet. So I'm going to get it when I get done. I know in about 3 minutes I'm going to get
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
why do I want to do polls? And second question to that, Brynne, what do I use as a rep agency, for example, in the construction world? What kind of things do I ask? Do I want to be only industry related? Things I want to find out that'll help me
So
sell them?
let's play the game, okay?
Okay.
So, Randy, what are the challenges that your prospects have that you solve?
Supply chain issues,
Okay.
quality products in a timely manner. That's probably the two biggest right now in today's world.
Okay. So your poll now, and who are they? What is the
They're
title?
people that manufacture metal roofing, so they're the
Okay.
metal roofing
So
manufacturers.
it as a metal roofing manufacturer, what is your top priority for 2023?
Okay,
Fixing this, other sharing comments.
gotcha.
Okay. But now you're like, well, how do they see it? Once it's published, there's a little send button and it's a little paper airplane at the bottom right
Hmm.
of every post. So now you have your poll and you click send. And by the way, let's pause on there for a second because what we've done is we've taken inventory of our connections and identified the 72 metal roofing manufacturer people in your network. Okay.
Right,
So now we send it one on one and it takes a little time but way less time than cold calling.
right.
And we send a quick little message that says, Craig, as a preeminent metal roofing manufacturing leader, I would love your one-click vote on this poll that I've put together. Once it closes, I'm happy to share the insights that I glean from you and your peers.
Wow.
Okay. So now they're like, oh, I want to see like you said, I want to see where I fall. Where do I benchmark? The poll is inside the message. They don't even have to get leave to vote.
Right,
Now, one thing that LinkedIn does brilliantly is you can't see the votes until you vote.
right,
So he's going to take that vote. You are going to learn what his biggest priority is. And you can start a conversation first by saying, so what we do with a lot of our clients is now we put together an ebook. And now he'll start to interview these folks that voted and get a quote for the ebook. Right?
got
And
it.
they're honored.
Yep.
So we have a quote. So we get on a Zoom and I'm looking for one quote. You said this was your biggest challenge or your biggest priority for 2023. Can you give me one quote about what you're going to do or what you're planning to do or what you'd like to do, right? Something very positive. But you now are on a Zoom call and you're building rapport and you know their challenge.
Right.
So after you get their quote, you can just say, hey, based on what I heard, that this is your goal. Can I give you one or two quick little insights or things that you can do to get there faster?
Yep.
Right? Sure. And then, or can I tell you a story of how one of our clients that was in your exact same situation got there faster? And you ask permission to tell that client story so they don't feel like it was a bait and switch,
Hmm.
but they truly believe that you heard them and you want to help them at this point. And you make sure you get that ebook out and you mention them and all the other people in the ebook. And it's amazing. Now you've got content, original content that you're promoting other people. You're building great relationships. And with the right cadence, polls can be the most effective way to create content without you having to think about what it is.
Wow, that's good stuff. I made a note here. I'm gonna work on a poll tonight, Brynne.
Just make sure that you're ready with the follow up. So I
Right.
tell people, don't publish a poll unless you know what you're going to do afterwards and that you've taken inventory and you have at least 50 people you're going to get it in front of.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. So we talked about doing your homework. We talked about engaging. Another note I made is I thought it was so many people, right? And I don't know what the percentage is. You may, but if they do get on LinkedIn, they 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 post stuff. They might do a like, but they never truly take that effort to actually engage with them, right? They don't see it as this is a true communication. It's a back and forth. That's the goal, right? Not just oh, Brynne liked my post, my grandkid. Oh, isn't that nice, right? But did Brynne say, "Oh my God, your grandson's so handsome"? I got one that same age. There's a big difference between liking and engaging, right?
Absolutely. And by the way, I think that LinkedIn should primarily be B2B. I don't ever share my grandkids on there, but if there's ever a lesson to be learned from B2B, I might. So
Mm-hmm.
keep this. I'm not saying you can't do anything personal, but you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to go over personal. It's not
Right.
Facebook.
Right.
The
Exactly.
other thing I would say is treat LinkedIn as if it were a conference or a trade show or a business card exchange, where your goal is to walk in and meet people and have conversations. It's not just to collect business cards. If you went into a trade show with a whole handful of cards and I walked up, Randy, here's my card. Can I have yours? Wes, here's my card. Can I have yours? George, here's my card. Can I have yours? Right. Then I go home and I stick a big rubber band around the business cards and stick them in the corner of my desk and never
Right.
look at them again. That's what we do on LinkedIn, and it doesn't make sense. We need to slow down our outreach and really start to have more meaningful conversations with less people, but targeted people. And so when you're doing random acts of social, where every once in a while you come in, you don't have a plan, you are absolutely never going to get business from it. You have to go in with a plan. If you go in simply to randomly do things, you're going to get random conversations. If you really want to use this as a business tool, you have to have a daily cadence, know what you're going to say, know what you're going to do, and really, hone in on what actually converts to business and stay away from the noise and the things that are just like dark holes of social.
Gotcha. So I like the idea of plan. How, and there's probably no rule, and maybe there is a rule of how often should I be on LinkedIn? I mean, what's the is once a day, 3 times a day, 27 times a minute? What's the rule?
So I hate to say it depends, but it depends, right?
Depends,
Each
right?
person that I work with, they're like, I've got 20 minutes a day. How do I use it? What's the best way to do it? There are some salespeople that have 4 hours a day because their job is prospecting at the very highest level. So half their day is prospecting, the other half is talking to the prospects. So I always start with, what are you willing to invest? What are you willing to commit to? Because if there is someone that comes to me and I give them a 3 hour a day cadence and they just don't have that, they're set up to fail.
Right.
So typically we start with what do you want to accomplish? How much time are you willing to commit? And then you get wins, we reevaluate the time and say, does it make sense to add another 20 minutes on? Because this now is showing an ROI. And so does that extra 20 minutes, it will double the new revenue you're bringing in? So if you
Right.
just brought in an extra rolling 100,000 and we in 20 minutes a day, and we now added another 20 minutes, can you handle that business?
Right.
At that point, they're bought in. So I like to really start with, and by the way, LinkedIn has a short game and a long game. So I like to start with the short game, and the short game is client referrals. So the first thing we do when we work together is we put together a value-centric profile, a resource-driven profile. The second thing we do is make sure that we are connected to all of our clients and referral partners. That is critical. The third thing that we do is look at our calendar and say, when are we talking with our clients? Mine their connections, make a list. And when you're on a call, just say, hey, Randy, by the way, I'm so glad we've been able to help you do X, Y, and Z for your business. I noticed you're connected to a few people I'd love to get in front of. Can I run these names by you? And maybe you have 18 quick names and it comes down to 3 names where you say, oh, he's great. You should talk to him. Oh my God, you'll love her. She's perfect. And then based on my relationship with you, I either ask for an introduction or permission to name drop and let them know you're my client and that you thought it made sense for me to have that conversation. And either way, you're coming in at a higher level of credibility.
Right.
About 50% of the people that come in through the introduction or permission to name drop turn into conversations. 100%, 95% will accept your connection request. Half of those, so if I give you 18 names and there are 4 people that you say, sure, you can drop my name. And I go out and I'll say, Wes, Randy and I were chatting on LinkedIn the other day and your name came up. He's been my client for the last, 3 years. We've been able to help him do X, Y, and Z. And he thought it made sense for me to reach out and introduce myself. Happy to share some insights, even if we never work together around X, Y, and Z. So we connect. Half of them, they accept. And then I say, Randy, thanks so much for connecting per Wes's recommendation. Here's, let's set up a time to talk. Please let me know your preferred way of scheduling. If it happens to be via calendar link, here's mine. Looking forward to chatting. Half of them schedule. Right.
That's
And
pretty
so
impressive.
if we take inventory of all the clients that we've served over the years, make sure we're connected to them and have these conversations, that's a short game. So we start there. But if your profile is not positioned well, they look and go, I don't need to talk to them. But if it's in a resource, oh, that's interesting. I haven't thought of it that way. They are interested. And that's why it's really important that we start with the profile.
Makes sense.
And then content's the long game.
Mm-hmm.
Although it's great and we can start conversations, it just takes a little bit longer to nurture and get hands raised. But eventually you actually create a nice inbound stream of business where I have some clients who are like, I never in my life thought I'd get an inbound piece of business. And now they're getting it consistently.
Really? Wow.
And that's the content.
That's the content side.
Yeah.
And that leads me to a question that I've when I've talked to people in my industry that maybe don't do much of this kind of thing, and maybe they'd like to do a little bit, but they're going, where do I come up with content? What do I even do? I don't know. I don't know what to do. What's Brynne's
That's one of
rules
my
there?
favorite questions. So there are a few things that we want to think about. Number one, start to capture your genius. When you answer questions to prospects and clients, write them down, recap it in an email so it's typed based on our conversation. Here are some of the things. And that's content. Those are tips. Those are strategies. Capture your genius. Number two, take that genius, get on Zoom and do a 1.5 minute video on that genius, 2 minutes on that genius content. Number three, when you do that in Zoom, if you have any kind of paid Zoom, you can check that you get a transcript. If you don't, if you have the free Zoom, you can upload it to Otter, OTTER.ai, and it'll transcribe it for you. Edit it and you have a blog post. So there's a lot of content through video that can be really, really powerful. The other thing is a poll. And my favorite thing is what you're doing right now. Create LinkedIn Lives and interviews and, create eBooks from tips from other people that are in the industry. Absolutely, hands down, I don't even know your industry, but metal roofing manufacturers want to know what other metal roofing manufacturers are doing and saying. People want to know, where do we benchmark? What's innovative? What's happening? So if we interview roofing metal manufacturing leaders, we're going to attract more of them, and we're going to get them to want to share their information. So you just have to be consistent and remember that content is the long game. Introductions and permission should drop to name drop is the short game. And you have to play both in parallel.
Love it. That's a great advice. So we talked about so much today. What is there? What's the past 6 months of LinkedIn? What's the next 6 months of LinkedIn? Any major changes coming up that we should be sitting here going, God, I can't wait till this happens?
So there's nothing that I can't wait for, but there are things that are in beta that are really kind of launching. And I'm not sure if it'll be successful because I think LinkedIn has missed the boat. But LinkedIn audio,
I've seen a little
audio
about
room.
that. Okay.
Yeah, so there's LinkedIn audio rooms. It's like Clubhouse where you
Hmm.
can invite people to join you, and it's like here we're on live and people are commenting over here. Audio, no video at all, but we can have more discussions with people in the audience where it's not as easy when you're in LinkedIn Live. So audio rooms is a big one. I am not sure if it's worth it because it's really hard to find them. So you have to invite people. Where on Clubhouse, you could find rooms by walking through the hallway on your mobile device, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, there's good, bad, and ugly. I think that's probably one of the areas that they're really focused on. I also think they're focused on creator mode, which isn't brand new, but it's really about pushing out people that have consistent content, and it can really help you find um, it kind of find your audience. You can become kind of a micro influencer, as a
Hmm.
creator. And the last thing, which is brand new that nobody knows about, and I think is probably the most powerful prospecting tool right now, and it's only available in the free LinkedIn, not in Sales Navigator, is the ability to search influencers' followers. So, you want to find out who's following Jeffrey Gitomer? You can't see who he's connected to, but he's got way more connections than he does. I
Right.
mean, way more, apologize,
Followers.
way more followers than he has connections. So if he has 30,000 connections and 60,000 followers, there are 30,000 people following him. I don't know how many he has. I'm making a guess.
Yeah.
There are, 30,000 people following him, and you can search that. So now you want to start a conversation with them. You could
Yep.
say, hey, I see you're a fan of Jeffrey Gitomer. So am I. Did you hear the webinar he was on? Did you see the? I'd love to send that over to you. Here were some. And all of a sudden, you are connecting with people based on an influencer. And you can only do that in the free LinkedIn.
Hmm.
But if you ask me what the biggest trend will be, I think that will
That's
be
it.
it.
Perfect. That is that. I'm going to play with that tonight. I like that.
Cool.
I like that. The audio. I'm glad to hear your thought on the audio because I never became a Clubhouse guy. I just got on a couple times and I just I didn't I don't know I wasn't in the right groups, number one, or the right rooms, I guess is the right term.
Right,
But
right.
so
I'm
so
sure there weren't a lot of metal roofing
no,
manufacturers
not
on
really.
Clubhouse.
I thought once or twice about starting my own, and then I didn't because I got enough other to do. It didn't the value didn't
I
seem
would
there to
do it
me at the
all on
time.
LinkedIn.
Yeah,
I would,
I'm gonna
if you were to do something like
Yeah,
that.
that would make sense. Well,
Yeah.
Brynne, thank you. You've gave us 34 absolutely spectacular minutes, and I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Great
It's
to
been
talk with you. It's
well.
always fun.
I've got pages of notes here. So if nobody else learned anything, I did. So I appreciate it.
You know what?
But
That's all that matters.
yeah, one person, right? And but
Well, you
well,
matter.
I matter. You matter. We all matter. Wes matters.
We're all made
Wes
of matter.
Pardon me.
I said we're all made of matter.
Yeah,
It's science
yeah,
too.
I like it. That's awesome. We're all matter. I got that. Perfect. So anything as we end? Any should ask question? What did I miss that maybe you wish I'd have brought up, and maybe not?
Oh, great. I mean, there's so many things.
I
avenues
know.
we could go. I would say the one question that most people ask is, should I pay for Sales Navigator?
Hmm.
So the answer is, again, it depends. But what I would say is you can get it for free for 30 days. Get it for free and reach out to me, and I'll send you a video that will help you use it free, that will help you use it really well. And in 30 days, you'll be able to determine if it's worth the money.
Okay. Great advice. Love it. Brynne, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Keep
Randy.
You betcha. Keep doing what you're doing because it's brilliant stuff. Boom. All right. Go enjoy that grand baby two.
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 I have two granddaughters, 22 months and 4 weeks, and they're my heart.
Oh, I'm
It's
sure.
amazing.
That's grandkids are awesome. I'm so old that I actually have a great grandkid. It's
Wow. Got a
but
while for that.
yeah,
But
but then you know, it's funny, real like 10-second story. So my son, who's grandpa, right? I'm papa. He's grandpa. We're together the first time was when he's 22 months now, but when the little guy was, I don't know, 6 months, I don't know, doesn't matter. Somebody said something about papa, and we both at the instant same time go, yes. And I looked at him and I go, this is weird.
it's
This is
weird.
weird because I'm my oldest granddaughter, who's the mother of the great grandson, is 24. So I'm kind of used to the papa thing, right? I'm
Right.
not used to my little guy who's 44, but still, in your mind, that's still that little fella. It's like, oh, this is
It's
weird, right?
weird. It's
It's just
weird. Yeah.
weird. It's
Yeah.
weird. But anyways, Brynne, again, thank you very much. I appreciate you as always, and make it a great day.
Okay, you too.
I'm going to. I'm going to make it
Okay.
awesome. My wife's got dinner ready, so that's really exciting.
You can't get better than that. I need a wife.
Well, I hear there's some out there.
Yeah. Well, I'd have to talk to my husband first,
Well,
but
yeah, he might not be so cool with that, but it's something to discuss over a glass of wine, I suppose. But
yeah, well, that can
anyway,
change things anyway. All right, Randy,
exactly, exactly.
we
All
could
right,
be goofy all day long. I love
we
this.
could.
I've had fun,
I did too.
and I appreciate your time.
You bet. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. All right, Brynne Tillman. Everything I thought it'd be and more. So, anyways, I knew you're going to love everything she's got. I'm going to make some notes here so that I don't forget everything I've been writing all over my pad. Obviously, I didn't take note writing in school, apparently. But, anyways, hope you enjoyed that. Follow Brynne Tillman if you want to learn more about LinkedIn. She is a guru in the world of LinkedIn and how to use it, as you could tell for this short 34 minutes. Anyway, continue to love what you do and do what you love. Remember, grass every day, live it, love it, own it. And hey, while you're at it, go make today your best day ever. Till tomorrow. Cheers, my friends.